Yo, what up, party people? It's your boy Fokis, hip hop artist from New York City, producer, engineer, label owner, grinder extraordinaire. You know the deal. If you're not familiar with me, check out my documentary called Hello, My Name is Focus. It's available right now on my YouTube channel. Tell you all about me. It's a very inspiring documentary about an independent artist traveling to Europe to record and make a new album, and you can watch it all. But today we're going to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. I've been meaning to make this video. Got my little toothpick here. I've been meaning to make this video for quite a while because I'm frustrated. And we're going to talk about distribution. We're going to talk about digital distributors. If you're not familiar with what digital distribution is, these are companies that take your music, they deliver them to platforms like Spotify and iTunes and YouTube, etc., etc. All right. So in the very early days, I'd like to say that CD Baby was one of the first companies that I was aware of that really started out with this whole concept. So I have currently 5 different companies that I use. I started out with CD Baby back in 2005 when I released my very first album, which I'm celebrating 20 years right now, called More Than One Way. And at the time, it was a new thing. I didn't really know because this was post blog era. You know, in the blog era, it was all about putting your music up on the blogs for free and everybody get free downloads. Then the system and the game pivoted to retail and really trying to encourage listeners of music to purchase the music instead of just listening to it. So iTunes came out and made a killing. All right. So I started with CD Baby. All right. And let me just say that I have a whole other video about CD Baby, but let me just say that when I started with CD Baby, it was perfect. The only thing at the time, as time progressed, that I didn't like about CD Baby was that they didn't seem to upgrade and advance with the times. Their website, pretty much the functionality of it, pretty much works and looks the same as it did back in 2005. They've changed some of the fonts and they've changed some of the, layout, but from a functionality standpoint, it's pretty much the same. They didn't really update much, but we'll get into that later. Then I got an Empire situation. I got with Empire because the guy's name was Nima. He ran a website called Dub CNN back in the day, which I used to be on a lot. I used to be on his website a lot. I had a pretty nice buzz during the blog era. And then he invited me and told me about what they were starting. I signed up. I ended up releasing, I remember the first song that I released, they got it posted on the homepage of iTunes. I'll never forget that. That was a great look. And my era with Empire was that when they launched, I was still following the blog era mentality and was just worried about putting out music for free. Though I was able to monetize my music because I was doing something kind of unique that allowed me to make money from my free download releases, but I should have really taken more advantage of my Empire situation at that time. I want to say this was like 2007, 8, 9, something around there. Had I done that, I would have positioned myself better to building a fan base and audience of customers that spend money on music. So that was my bad, but we'll get to that. Then I got with DistroKid. Then I have another deal with another company out in Germany called RecordJet. And then lastly, Symphonic. So I'm going to break down what's the problem. The problem that we're having with these distribution companies is that they're in control, right? And for me, they're in control for no reason. Because just to break down some of the percentages, with CD Baby, they're taking 9%, which I think is good. I love how they changed their business model and they really, really reduced the price it costs you to upload a song. And I think it's fair. I think 9% is fair. I think it's fair. It's like, hey, we're not going to charge you anything, any annual fees. We're just going to take our 9%. And I think that's fair. I respect that, and I'm with that. I'll get into the problems after. I just want to break down each of the percentages. Empire. Empire takes 20%. Okay. I tried to reduce to 20%, but they said once you do better and sell more, then we can talk about that. I get it, but I think 20% is very high. I think it's very high. All right. DistroKid, 0%. But their business model is, in the beginning, I thought it was great. Oh, I could just drop as much projects and songs as I want. But the problem is, if you want the song, they want you to pay for every little thing additionally annually. And that could get costly, right? So, whatever. Record Jet, they take 10%. All right? I think 10% is fair. I think 10% is good. I don't have to pay anything. It's in Germany, so they do distribute to the US and they distribute worldwide. But the cool thing is that they're collecting the money in euro. So, especially for the Europe, which is fantastic because the euro is worth more than the dollar. They don't have the split payments there. So it's great if I'm just doing my own stuff directly, just me as an artist and not having to worry. Empire also doesn't have the splits payment feature. CD Baby does not have the splits payment feature. And DistroKid does, okay? Record Jet doesn't have it. And now Symphonic. Symphonic was one of the newest ones that I signed up for. On the surface, they look good. They do show some statistics. Their approval process, I uploaded something on Monday. Today is Friday, June 6th. I uploaded something on Monday, June 2nd, and it's still not approved. It's just still says submitted. And that's kind of shaky, right? DistroKid, of course, they're using AI, so they approve it in within the hour. It's all approved and ready to go. CD Baby, if you pay for the additional CD boost, they accelerate it and the approval process happens faster. Empire is pretty, from a back end standpoint, they really have it going well. But I haven't uploaded to Empire in quite a while. And same for Record Jet. Record Jet is pretty fast with their approval process. And stuff like that. So my frustration really comes from the fact that these guys have control and they want to share, but it's like they're not doing anything for it, right? So I get it. You sent the music, it's sitting on the platforms. That's great, and that's much appreciated. We pay for that, but then I have to go out and spend my money and my grind and my work, right? And you just sit back and then you just collect. Okay? I understand that there are technologies that you guys have invested in and or pay for to utilize, maybe YouTube Content ID. Maybe you're using some AI powered things to help with detection and things like that. And that's all good. But I'm paying for that. And I don't feel that it equates to me investing my money and my time to go travel the world, to go hustle and build my name, my song, and then you kind of just sit back and collect. I get it from a business standpoint, that's perfect for you guys, but at the end, what I see here as a solution, let's get to the solutions, is that these retail outlets really need to begin to allow artists to upload directly to their platforms. Because, listen, iTunes is already taking, Apple Music is already taking 30%. So if I release an album that's $10, now I'm left to $7. All right? I'm okay with giving a percentage to a digital distribution company. I think it's fine. Let's all eat, but we all have to work. We all need to work. So if you want 10%, if you want then what else are you bringing to the table aside from delivering my content to the platforms and storing it? I mean, we can do that ourselves. I mean, I literally can do that myself. And that's where the industry, this is where we need to go next. We need to go next to where these labels, okay, excuse me, these retail outlets, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, you know, once they say, you know what, let's put the power completely in the hands of the artists and allow them to upload and deal with us directly. A distributor acts as a filter and a middleman, and I get it because they're doing all the quality control stuff and making sure. But once these platforms like, Apple Music, etc., once they decide to dedicate maybe a department that can act as a liaison between the artists and the artist musicians before the content gets accepted to these platforms, they're going to open up another business for themselves, right? They're going to create a whole new source of revenue, because I would much rather pay Apple Music, they're taking 30% already. You know what I mean? So what are you bringing to the table that entitles you to this 10%, 15%, 20%? And like I said, I'm cool. You take the 10%. All right. And if 10% means, all right, 10% means that you don't have to pay anything. We're just going to take a 10% cut. We're not going to do anything. Just going to make sure your files, everything stays up there. Cool. All right. Then if that's what the industry standard is, as far as distribution companies are concerned, great. Now, if they take 15%, we'll give you this on top of distributing the music. Okay, that's a selling point for us as artists. We say, okay, cool. You're going to hook us up with, I don't know, additional marketing, or you're going to come up with the creative way that you can, combine artists and give us additional support for that 5%. And then if you do 20%, you get this. So the problem that we're facing right now is that the power is in the hands of the distribution companies. And we are the musicians. Without our music, the companies virtually don't exist. So my solution is, we need to get to a point where we are able to deliver our music directly to the platforms. And if distribution company A wants our business, then what are you doing for me that I won't be able to do for myself, assuming Spotify and these characters, allow us to then deal with them directly? And I have to tell you, I think that that's coming. But that ruins the business model for some of these companies. So they definitely don't want that. But we need to get to a place where it's fair. It's fair, because right now it's terrible. I personally, I have my music up there, but my new album, I'm releasing it directly on my website. I'm going to drop a single or 2 or 3 on Spotify, but I'm driving my traffic. For those that, I always like to use the terminology, for those that give a shit, I'm driving them directly to my website. Buy it. I have some perks. When you buy the digital version, you get this perk, of course, the vinyl, tapes, etc., etc. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating because we as artists, I believe, have been so dependent on these distribution companies, and you have so many of them that are springing up day by day, and there's terms. And the worst part about everything is that, I'm not going to say names, but, there's a particular company that I work with, and I know these guys got rich and they made it happen because they're basically playing with your money. So it takes about 45 days for Apple Music to send the report, right? And payments as far as this is what was played, this is etc. So these companies are receiving your money and they're playing with your money. They're taking your money to reinvest it, and then they're not giving you any interest on it. It's like, why are you holding my money? Like the Symphonic, 5 days so far to get a song approved. It takes 3 months for them to report the data. In July, I'm going to see my stats from April. And I mean, I'm in June right now, and I can't see my stats and get the report for April. That's not really acceptable. But right now, that's how the industry is controlled. When one of these companies finally say, you know what, we're going to open this portal and allow artists to distribute to us directly, they're going to win. They're going to win because artists are going to make them priorities. So when you say, yo, I'm putting my music on Apple Music, I'm not putting it on Spotify, I'm going to put it on Apple Music because I can deal with Apple Music directly, you're going to win. So I hope one of you guys see this and say, yes, we're going to take this next step to empower the artists and give the artists back the control. Hey, I'm all for everybody getting a piece of the pie, and I'm all for everybody eating. We should all eat. But what are you bringing to the table to entitle you to eat? That's my problem. You know, I had this one issue. I made a separate video about CD Baby. I remember CD Baby used to be fantastic. I had a great relationship with CD Baby. At one point, I reached out to them because I put out an album. My company put out an album, Sadat X album called Never Left, and I pitched it to different companies. And CD Baby got back to me. Shout out to the guy Ben who used to work there. And we made an amazing partnership where I was able to manufacture vinyl, CDs, posters. I was able to manufacture all his merch in advance. So they advanced it to me. And then they were just recouping it from the sales. They did pitching for me. We got the album on iTunes homepage. It's like label services, and it was great. Ben left, things changed, and most recently I had an issue where I uploaded a song called New York Metropolis with a producer from Czech Republic. He's like the DJ premier of Czech Republic. Okay, so we have an album, and I reached out to all the distributors that I mentioned here and explained to them, yo, I got this project, amongst others. I'd like to work together closely, not just doing the upload, distribute. I'd like to try to see if we can create some kind of a marketing deal, etc., etc. CD Baby got back and said, oh, we're excited about your rollout. I gave him a list of everything that I have. I said, oh, we're excited about the DJ Fade album, etc., etc. So I was like, okay, well, so, you know, what we talking? What we doing? So I put the single out with them just so that I can at least have some data to show. And I noticed that the song was not popping up. When you go to Instagram, it wasn't popping up. But it was already on Spotify and iTunes. I'm like, well, why is it not popping up? So I sent them an email, and they said, oh, we'll get back to you in the department. That was 2 months ago. They still never got back to me. I sent numerous emails regarding the issue that my song was not available on Instagram and wasn't popping up, which was severely affecting my campaign because I couldn't even play the song when I'm uploading the image. Neither could other people. And they literally didn't answer. I mean, they did not answer at all. So I ended up getting the song out of there and putting it on DistroKid. And then now the issue with DistroKid is these guys, you know, I have an account that's for 10 artists, but 5 of the songs were just like singles, or 5 of the artists were kind of just singles and one-offs that I knew I really wasn't going to do again per se. So I was like, well, it makes no sense in me paying for this because I want everything to at least pay for itself. That's the bottom line. So I looked and see what was paying for itself and what wasn't. Pa fuera, has to go. So I did that, and I tried to downgrade my account. They made it difficult. Finally, they allowed me to downgrade it, but the downgrade, I thought I was going to get a credit. No, downgrade doesn't take effect until my renewal date, which was June 2nd. So I said, well, let me just take it off then, because you know you have to take it down and then put it somewhere else. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me wait until my renewal date. So on June 2nd, I go to do it. First, of course, they try to hit my card for the $179, and then, but you know, I was smarter than that. I took the you know, I have a card that's specific to like my monthly stuff. So, and I deposit the money as I go, so they don't just charge me blindly. Y'all should play the game too. And then, yeah, they tried to charge it. It wasn't available, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to get this resolved. I was trying to downgrade my account. Their customer service is terrible. DistroKid's customer service is terrible. I get it from a business concept. It makes sense for you guys because you want to. The goal is to make money, but I don't mind paying for something that's worth paying for. So now I'm at the point where I'm tired. I'm tired, and I'm really going to begin to take signatures and start advocating for one of these companies to allow artists to start dealing directly with you guys. Apple Music, if you want to get back in the game, or Tidal, one of y'all got to do it. Y'all got to do it because it's not beneficial to us artists. So that's my story for today. I'm going to keep y'all posted as I continue to push towards making this happen because it's incredible. Okay? And this shit got to change. It got to change. I'm tired of watching these videos and horror stories of, this review, that company review, this review. None of these guys are perfect. All of them have something that's good. But the perfect company is going to be the company that puts the artist first. Of course, it's a business. But the perfect company is going to be a company that puts the artist first and says, you know what? We're going to give you the option. If you want to keep 100% of your royalties for your project, that's cool. But you're going to pay this. A better business model would be and say, hey, look, to distribute this song right here, it's going to cost you, this album is going to cost you $50 a year, let's just say. And that $50 a year is going to get you X, Y, and Z. Or you can pay this much per year, and we're going to take this percentage. Keep it simple, y'all. Keep it simple. Because at the end, y'all guys are getting rich because y'all taking advantage. But, I'm not a thirsty artist anymore, thankfully. I understand if you want to make some real money, you got to go travel. You got to have merchandise, and you got to make real, genuine connections with people. And that's how you will make the money. As far as these distribution platforms are concerned, they're getting their little money now, but it won't last. It won't last because when the smart company comes out and understands that you got to put the artist first, they're going to win. All right? So I wish y'all a fantastic weekend. Make sure you check out my documentary album, Hello, My Name is Fokis. It's a very dope project. It's an album in the form of a documentary. You watch it, experience it. You join me as I travel around Europe, connecting with producers, other artists, playing shows, and you see how it all goes down. All right? One love, y'all.